You were on your way home when you died. It was a car accident, nothing particularly remarkable, but fatal nonetheless. You left behind a wife and 2 children. It was a painless death. The EMTs tried their best to save you, but to no avail. Your body was so utterly shattered you were better off, trust me. And that's where you met me. What happened, you asked? Where am I? You died, I said, matter-of-factly. No matter in mincing words. There was a truck and it was skidding. Yup, I said. I died. Yep, but don't feel bad about it. Everyone dies, I said. You looked around. There was nothingness. Just you and me. What is this place, you asked? Is this the afterlife? More or less, I said. Are you God, you asked. Yep, I replied. I'm God. My kids, my wife, you said. What about them? Will they be alright? See, that's what I like about you. I said. You just died and your main concern is for your family. That's good stuff right there. You looked at me with frustration. To you, I didn't look like God. I just looked like some man, or possibly a woman. Some vague authority figure maybe. More of a grammar school teacher than the Almighty. Don't worry, I said. They'll be fine. Your kids will remember you as perfect in every way. They didn't have time to grow contempt for you. Your wife will cry on the outside but will be secretly relieved. To be fair, your marriage is falling apart. If it's any consolation, she'll feel very guilty for feeling relieved. Oh, you said. So what happens now? Do I go to heaven or hell or something? Neither, I said. You'll be reincarnated. Ah, you said. So the Hindus were right. All religions are right in their own way, I said. Walk with me. You followed along as we strode through the void. Where are we going? Nowhere in particular, I said. It's just nice to walk while we talk. So what's the point then, you asked? When I get reborn, I'll just be a blank slate, right? A baby. So all my experiences and everything I did in this life won't matter. Not so, I said. You have within you all the knowledge and experiences of your past lives. You just don't remember them right now. I stopped walking and took you by the shoulders. Your soul is more magnificent, beautiful, and gigantic than you can possibly imagine. A human mind can only contain a tiny fraction of what you are. It's like sticking your fingers in a glass of water to see if it's hot or cold. You put a tiny part of yourself into the vessel, and when you bring it back out, you've gained all the experiences it had. You've been in a human for the last 48 years, so you haven't stretched out yet and felt the rest of your immense consciousness. If we hung out here for long enough, you'd start remembering everything. But there's no point doing that between each life. How many lives have they been reincarnated then? Oh, lots. Lots and lots. As in, to lots of different lives, I said? This time around, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 540 AD. Wait, what? You stammered. You're sending me back in time? Well, I guess technically, time as you know it only exists in your universe. Things are different where I come from. Where you come from, you said? Oh sure, I explained. I come from somewhere else. And there are others like me. I know you'll want to know what it's like there, but honestly, you wouldn't understand. Oh, you said, a little let down. But wait, if I get reincarnated to other places in time, I could have interacted with myself at some point. Sure, happens all the time. With both lives only aware of their own lifespan, you don't even know it's happening. So what's the point of it all? Seriously, I ask. Seriously? You're asking me for the meaning of life? Isn't that a little stereotypical? Well, it's a reasonable question, you persisted. I looked you in the eye. The meaning of life, the reason I made this whole universe, is for you to mature. You mean mankind? You want us to mature? No, just you. I made this whole universe for you. With each new life, you grow and mature and become a larger and greater intellect. Just me? What about everyone else? There is no one else, I said. In this universe, there's just you and me. You stared blankly at me. But all the people on Earth, all were you. Different incarnations of you. Wait, I'm everyone? Now you're getting it, I said, with congratulatory slap on the back. I'm every human being who ever lived, or who will ever live, yes. I'm Abraham Lincoln, and you're John Wilkes Booth too, I added. I'm Hitler, you said, appalled, and you're the millions he killed. I'm Jesus? And you're everyone who followed him. You fell silent. Every time you victimized someone, I said, you were victimizing yourself. Every act of kindness you've done to yourself. Every happy and sad moment you've ever experienced by any humans was or will be experienced by you. You thought for a long time. Why? You asked me. Why do all this? Because someday you will become like me. Because that's what you are. You're one of my kind. You're my child. Whoa, you said, incredulous. You mean I'm a god? No, not yet. You're a fetus. You're still growing. Once you've lived every human life throughout all of time, you'll have grown enough to be born. So the whole universe, you said, it's just an egg, I answered. Now it's time for you to move on to your next life. And I sent you away.
Take me to Pleasure Town.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pleasure Explosion. 5 out of 6 this week. We're going to talk about a very interesting topic, I think. Something a little bit different. Of course, you would have noticed the episode started with me reading a story so well. I read that story well, didn't I, everyone?
So
it was
pronounced all the words perfectly.
You said the words good.
Look, I already read through it. I made sure that there's no yellow to be said in that.
What was that again?
I'm gonna have no fucking issues.
There's no ladders or letters in this.
And future Dylan had 0 issues reading that to you guys. And if you're all like, why the fuck did the show start that way? I'll explain in a minute. Joining us this week, Ashley Hobley.
What's up, everybody?
Jack Cruz.
Say what up.
What up?
Thank you.
What up?
Nicholas Pryor.
It's your boy.
It always is your boy. And Thomas Kiwi.
Pleasure to be back with you, gentlemen.
No, it's a pleasure.
Oh, very
Explosion.
Explosion.
So good. So, this week I thought for something different. I have this short story, The Egg by Andy Weir, which I remember I read a couple years ago because it's quite old. When it was floating around the internet, because I found it when The Martian came out. What was that, like 2 years ago?
Ah, that's where I know him from.
Yeah, just under 2 years ago.
Ash, I'm blowing Ash's
Still
mind.
haven't
Every
seen
time I share this story, I link it to something.
No, I thought it was him, but I wasn't 100% certain.
Oh, is it the same guy that made The Martian?
Wrote the Martian.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
book?
He didn't make the movie.
Yeah, the book. Yeah, so like I
meant
read the
film.
book before the movie came out, and the book was written by one Andy Weir, who's an interesting guy because he's not actually like your proper typical author. He's like a science dude or something like that, which is odd. But I remember when I read The Martian before the movie came out, I like started Googling him and came across a bunch of his short stories, and I read The Egg years and years ago. And then last month, Logic, who's a rapper, dropped an album called Everybody, which was basically all themed around this song, this short story.
This short story.
Yeah, sorry. So I've been blowing Ash's mind all day by linking everything in the world to this short story. So
10 out of 10, Mile Valley.
So I just wanted to
10 points, Dylan. We'll have to go back
You're winning
and
this
put them
episode.
into the other episode.
what?
This blowing my mind.
Oh yeah, no.
10
That's a
out of 10.
deep cut. That's a deep cut.
That was months ago.
Yeah,
For them, yeah, it's fine.
wasn't that long
Listeners
ago.
pay attention, I'm sure. So I just want to know, like, straight off the bat, I just want to round table what everyone, like, what your thoughts were, like, without any pushing, just what you thought when you got to the end of the story, because I obviously, like, had my own opinions the first time I read it and stuff like that. Not so much on the actual story, but, like, what it makes you think, like, what it brought out in you. So I'm going to go backwards. Thomas, you read this story.
I read
Did
the
it spark
story.
any weird things?
I didn't think too deeply about it, to be honest. I thought, that's a cool little story. That is particularly interesting. I don't know I don't know what else I was supposed to think. So I'm
Nothing. It means
Yeah, no,
person by person.
I enjoyed the short read. I thought it was just an interesting sort of interpretation or thought for us being on this planet, I guess, that he has in this little story, and yeah, enjoyed it.
You would have enjoyed it more if it was set in space, is what you're telling me.
Well, it's kind of is set in space, isn't it?
Set in a space.
Yeah, it's set
Yeah,
in
this is
a
true.
certain amount of space. Yeah. I don't know if I could tell you that what would make me enjoy it anymore or anything. I think it was, yeah, quite a cool little read. Take you on a bit of a walk.
So
an enjoyable one.
You wouldn't sit around all day thinking about it. It's not gonna.
Oh, I might sort of present it to the odd person here and there. If the topic comes up, but I'm not going to start evangelizing this short story as the best thing that I've read all year, although it is, because the only other thing I've read is 2/3 of Aftermath, the Star Wars book.
It's not
You
real
haven't
like
read
the
that
Da
other
Vinci
book that's
Code.
come out recently?
I have not yet read The Spy and the Maven because I need to finish Aftermath first.
Yeah, fuck Aftermath.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
Sorry,
not
John.
great.
Spine the Maven is good. Can confirm.
Nicholas,
Dylan,
read this story. You read this story. What
did read
thoughts
this
come into your
story.
mind?
I thought it was pretty interesting. It needed a lot more fidget spinners in it.
Seriously, this guy. Seriously.
I thought it was
Why do you even like that thing?
because I'm a
Is it because
fidgeter.
you know we hate it? Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, it certainly could be plausible, but I didn't take anything away from it.
We're at 2 negatives so far.
That's not negative.
2.
I
No.
think it's
Like two opposite reactions to me, basically. All right, Jack.
I loved it. It was like, I don't know, like I was reading it and I'm like, okay, this is sort of a pretty, God died, and I didn't really sort of expect. I'm a kind of person that like I love twists in movies, and I'm the kind of person that always anticipates the twist, and I really enjoy something when there's a twist and I don't see it coming. So I really liked it because I'm like, oh shit, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm like, oh wow, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then it got me thinking about like he's like when God talks about when, you know, the more lives you live, the more exceptional you become. So and then it got me thinking like, so that's like Einstein and fucking, you know, Socrates and Aristotle and like all these people from history who are like fantastic minds are like, they're like they were like the last ones that were in the cycle of this person's like reincarnations. This is a really cool idea. It was a really cool. It's not something. It was completely like fresh and new. And like I've heard about reincarnation and stuff like that, and all those different concepts. And I'd like to believe it's true because otherwise death is pretty finite. Like,
So what you're saying is you want to be me.
I want to be everyone.
Maybe you already has
I
been
want to be
you.
inside you, Nick. Or I might have already been you.
Picking up an interesting point there, Jack. Are you saying like that Chinese peasant girl is the step above man whose wife doesn't love him?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that's what he said. Because that's what I took from it anyway, is that God is like, he's like, you know, the more experiences, the more lives that you live in this cycle, you know, the more knowledge you have, the more of an exceptional human you become. And so as it sort of went along, it's like, you know, okay, so the next step up, you've got all this life experience and knowledge and stuff, and so you have it in this thing. And maybe that peasant girl grows up to be like a, you know, I don't know, she might be the president of China one day or whatever. Like, so, and maybe the next one after that is, so he might have been right at the tail end, or he might have been, you know, a bit like, that's a lot of time. Like every single person in the history of the world, that's like billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of years. So
It also implies that humankind, like mankind, has an end point as well. Like we don't just keep going.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, absolutely. But it's and then the idea of it being separate universes, like they're all separate. Sort of, you know, this is just your universe, and then somebody else's is completely different. There's lots of different gods who have all these different, you know, entities out
Experiments
there.
going on.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought it was really cool. It was, and the way it sort of evolved as it went along and all that. I really enjoyed it, and it sort of I didn't think too deeply about it too long after, but I thought it was a really great story, and it had a good twist.
Good
The
twist.
real question
Very
is,
good.
can I add this on my Goodreads account?
You can add it, however, I would not count it as a full book, Nick. No.
Too
Because
bad.
it takes
My rules, not
about
yours.
2 fucking minutes to read. You can do what you want with your list, sure. Ash, you read the story today, but it's also worth pointing out you already had technically heard this story.
Yeah. I had technically heard this story, but slightly different take. Logic, you interpret it from a black person's point of view, so it was a more race sort of related, I guess. Where instead of turning into a Chinese girl, he turns into a slave owner.
Slave owner, yeah.
So, so you can imagine that didn't go down very well. Yeah, it was pretty interesting when I first heard it. I thought it was a pretty interesting take on life, and I guess it really hit you where he said every single hurtful thing you do against somebody, you do it against yourself, which kind of rung true because you're kind of hurting yourself anytime you do something hurtful to somebody else. And so, yeah. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Slightly feel less impressed by Logic now that I know it's based on a short story by somebody else. But,
For
yeah, but
for those that don't
I
know,
prefer
like,
the Logic interpretation.
How is it in this Logic thing? Is it like the whole album is this, or is it one
No,
song?
it's
like a
so-
spoken word section.
so the Logic album is basically that album's basically all about like it's all based on this short story. It's like very much themed around it, and the album starts with the start of this story, basically with him meeting God, and then it ends with him being like, so this is basically a waiting room, and he's like, yes, and then there's like 5 or 6 songs or 7 songs, whatever it is, and then there's like a 4-minute track called Waiting Room, which is basically the rest of the short story just plays out, and then there's like another 2 tracks on the album. So it's like a skit. There's literally a track that's just it's just they've played out the whole thing, 2 people.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson plays God.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
I'm still convinced that he is probably God, to be fair. Not really, but
The interesting thing about the Logic one is how, like, at the start, so he's like, they change a lot of parts in the story and they're funnier when you think about them, because it's like, he's like, so what happened to my wife? What happened to my son? And then God's like, that's what I like about you. This is, you know, you're thinking about them first. And then God's like, yeah, well, she cheated on you. And he's like, bitch. He's like, what the fuck, that bitch? But then once they do the whole twist, it's like, oh, you're everybody. You're like, oh, so he was like cheating on himself, and he's like calling himself a bitch. Like, it's all like, it's all kind of funny.
It's kind of crazy to think that in that sense you fucked yourself.
Yeah.
Throughout
He's
history.
masturbated
Throughout history, just fucking
for
yourself.
eternity.
Anytime you fucked somebody, you're fucking yourself.
What was you gonna say, Tom?
You're in a perpetual state of having sex with yourself.
Pretty much.
Just at any
Yeah.
one moment in time, or at every moment in time, there's some sexy time happening somewhere in the world.
So,
I'm pretty
in
sure
that
with, like,
timeline,
Makes
Bill
you feel
Cosby
better,
is
doesn't it,
innocent.
Dylan?
sorry, what?
If he's only fucking himself,
no.
then it's not against the law, is it?
I mean, that seems like a pretty deep rabbit hole that we
You're
could
gonna
fall
take it to
down. We
a
might want to
pretty dark
sidestep that one
place.
just for now. Save it for another day, I think.
So dark.
All right, so back on getting away from fucking
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, yeah. So I really like the thing that I always thought about it is, like, when I read it the first time, I was like, that's a
Which
great
was
story,
when?
that's a great twist. But I like 2 years ago when I read The Martian, like just before the movie came out, because I read the book before the movie came out. Like, because I saw the trailer for the movie and I was like, I'll read the book.
Is this
Which
just,
did you like
in
better,
the
the
back
book or
of
the-
the book as a bonus thing?
Oh no, because
or-
it's written by the same author. So I just
Oh,
googled
and
him later.
Did you like
sort
the
of
book
went-
or the movie
went
better?
Searching.
The book's better than the movie. Yeah, I just researched the.
How did you feel
author
about Matt
after I
Damon's
read it.
performance?
It was fine.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
Nah.
Do you like
Damn.
the story
Matt
or
Damon.
Logic's album better?
Logic's album. Like as a whole, Logic's album's better than the short story. Although the short story is pretty cool. But
Would you rather an
all do the
orange
same
or a
thing, like-
grapefruit?
oh, for fuck off.
I still don't really know who Logic
For
is.
what purpose?
He's just a rapper. It's not important. Google it if you don't know who Logic is. It's a rap album called Everybody. Came out this year. The fuck was I going to say? Now he's just fucking putting me off.
Not right now.
You're welcome.
Fuck's sake.
Is that a follow up to the Backstreet Boys album? Everybody. Everybody.
Yeah.
This is where you insert tumbleweed or cricket noise.
The silence is our disappointment.
Tom liked it.
Look on my face.
I liked it.
Fucking disappointment.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let me offer you this conundrum then. In a
Oh, dear.
world where people believe in God as is, without starting any too big of an arguments, people believe in God without any proof. Well, any physical, like scientific proof, right?
Yes.
I think that's a fair
Yeah,
statement.
because
without
it's all
pissing
about
anyone off.
facts. So yes, yeah.
Yes. Okay. People can be like, yeah, I've spoke to God.
George
Well,
Okay,
there's
Michael.
prove it.
historical facts.
Okay, yeah, you know what I'm saying though, right? You can't walk down the street and see him floating up in the sky and be like, okay, there's God.
Well, it depends how good
Hi,
the drugs
God, how
are.
you?
Well, how you interpret God.
I suppose this is true. All right, imagine a world where instead of the tale of normal Christianity or Catholicism, whatever, all that stuff, all your
Catholicism.
usual Catholicism.
What
yeah.
Tom said.
I wasn't going to try and say the
Catholicism.
big word. I knew I'd fuck it up. In a world where everyone believes in this shit, imagine if everyone believed in the story of the egg. How different would the world be if from get-go everyone in the world just believed this? So I was walking down the street, you knew that the person next to you was you knew this is it, everyone knew that there was like most people believed, and I'm treating this the same as the way people believe in God now, in which that there's a populace like me who is like doesn't believe in God, obviously. So in this world, there's a bunch of people that don't believe this story, but the main majority of believing, faith-wielding people believe in this story of the egg.
Well, I would
How
hope.
different do you think the world would be?
I would hope that my neighbour down the road would believe in the story and not
Not wanna
yell
fuck
after
you
me,
up.
threatening to beat me up after my dog took a shit on the footpath outside his house, because that happened this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, highlight of my day.
For context,
I think
Tom
he was-
picked up the poo, so he did not deserve to be accosted like that.
I did pick up the poo, and he like ran in his pajamas like 50, 60 meters down the road to catch up to me and wave his finger in my face and tell me to make my dog shit somewhere else.
Was he a big dude? He was a big dude.
He was bigger than me. I wonder if he was just still
But you could
drunk
take
or
him.
something like that.
You could
This
have
is
taken him.
Like 8 o'clock in the morning.
I have faith that you would have fucked him up.
Well, I would have. I was sort
That
of
was why.
I was in a bit of a fluster with like one headphone in, one headphone out. Hadn't paused the podcast I was listening to. Like I thought he was
You're
like,
making me
chasing
miss stuff,
somebody
mate.
else down the road. Yeah.
I hate shit like that.
That's why when you was telling this story this morning, I was like, this actually might be worth coming up, because the big difference to me between like if there was a big population of people that believed in this story compared to that believed in like following Christ is because Christ like be good to thy neighbor and all that sort of thing. Whereas I think that if everyone believed in this story and they thought it's literally just like be good to yourself, I reckon that more people would actually not be cunts, more or less, if they thought it was themselves. Not just be good to not just be good to the person because be
Yeah.
good, but if they were like that person's
yeah,
me.
I agree. And so in this,
I don't
think you
think
would
so.
still have competing religions.
yeah. So in this like hypothetical reality, Dylan, are you saying like so this is basically replacing Catholicism, and there's still like all the other religions and stuff, or is this like 50% of the
No,
world follows this religion and then everyone else just does whatever the fuck they want? Everyone else is an atheist.
No.
or-
So like this is the basis, and then there might be there's different variations of this one, like there is with other religions as is. So let's just imagine that the egg is Jesus
Okay.
Christ. Like the main story, the principal story.
I think that it could go either way. So the way, like, the first thing that pops into my head is that, I think everyone would be much better than each other because, fight or flight and self-preservation is like the most basic instinct that humans have, right? Is to look after yourself and not try not to die, basically. But then I start thinking about all of the evil fuckers in the world, and there is in every religion, no matter what way you spin it. And I think about, all right, for instance, like, use like, the Catholic Church and those child fucking scumbags that, that are sort of, we all know about, like the Catholic priests and all that kind of thing. And would they use it as I'm only molesting myself, so it's okay. So I think it could go both ways, and that you would have a sect of that group would be, I'm going to do good onto others because that's what Jesus tells me to do. Like they do now, or that's what the egg tells me to do, is to be good to myself because I'm only hurting myself if I do bad. And then you'll have half of them be like, say that, I can do this bad thing because Jesus will forgive me. It's like, well, I can do this bad thing because I'm only doing it to myself. So I think
it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it's okay for me to molest this child because I'm really just molesting myself. So it's okay. And they'll find
That's a bad
the
soundbite.
evil fuckers will find any way to justify their evil deeds. So I think it could go both ways.
I look forward to somebody taking that out of context for you, Jack.
What's that?
Superseded the fact that you're a racist. Now you're a pervert or something.
That's a bad soundbite to be out there in the world, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yep. Dylan knows about it.
But but you get what I mean, is that I think, and that's the reality, like, I think it would be, so life would be much the same, is that you would have a sect of people who would be, do unto, and they would live by that, do unto others and be good to each other because we're all the same, and you're just hurting yourself, and you would have some that would use it in an evil way. So I think it could go both ways.
It's going to be a smaller portion of people, isn't it? Just like you have like radical Islam and that sort of stuff. Like that's an incredibly small proportion.
Absolutely.
Of Muslims. Yeah, but it still exists.
Yeah, exactly
so
right.
And
And I don't think that I'm not saying that it's half and half with Catholics either. I think that the very vast majority of Catholics are great, wholesome, good people. And then there's like I said earlier, in any religion, there's evil people. In any society, atheists included, Mormons, Jews, everyone. There's always bad people no matter where you look. So
I think Jack
in
and
this
I
chat
have
right
concluded
now.
that the world would be exactly the same.
Yeah, I think it'd stay pretty similar.
I agree.
You go, Nick.
I think there'd be more people who just do whatever the fuck they want because they believe there'd be no consequences, really.
It would probably be a bigger banding together for something like ISIS, really.
Yeah. Like, everyone gets urges to do stuff, and because we're civilized people, we don't act on them. But if the mindset is, I'm only doing it to myself, then what's the fucking point? I'll just go and do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
But at the same, I was going to say at the same time, dude in the story doesn't actually know this every time he goes back down to Earth, kind of thing.
No, but
He
if it's
doesn't
the
know what's
general
going on.
belief.
But
No,
it's about us believing that this is
that's
actually
the-
what's happening to us.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, all religion's built on faith, right?
Yeah.
So this would be the same. There's
Yeah.
how do you, like, if you're going to be like, I'll kill this guy, but it doesn't matter because this guy is actually me because
Yeah.
we're all fucking part of a giant embryo. That's all built on faith. You like, as it is now, like for anything. So, I mean, there's always that. I don't know. I believe in it. I'm with you, Zol. I think if everyone actually believed in this, then it would the world would probably actually be
Especially
exactly
if
like
you
this,
think it back in like medieval times where people believed and didn't question, and they all believe in this is
Yeah.
true. Like, what's to stop them?
Yeah. Yeah. That's of it. Yeah.
Because you're going to have to live that through that getting murdered or raped or whatever.
But if you don't remember it, then they don't really care, do they?
I suppose not, but
You don't remember it straight away.
That's of course the interesting part is that if you're like, nah, fuck it, I'll just kill this guy. It's only me. It'll be fun. And then like 200 lives later, you're actually in that guy's body, and you're finally getting your eyeballs stabbed out or something like that. So whatever the fuck you did, I don't know. I think the thing that I found the story isn't really what I wanted to share. Like, the story's cool, it's well written, sure, whatever. It's more that for the next like 24 hours after I read it, I just kept thinking, I'm like, the world could be a better place, you know? Like, if we could all just get along. It's kind of one of those things. You ever like, whenever you watch like a movie or something like that, you're just like, fuck, man. Like, why can't we just get our shit together as like a human race? It's like,
I distinctly had a moment like that when we went to Yosemite, to the national park valley in California, nearly 2 weeks ago. Just like standing out over this place of like outstanding, extraordinary natural beauty, sort of going, man, this place is fantastic. I'm glad that there aren't many people here, or there aren't people doing awful things here. Why could we not just be nicer to each other and just have this moment of reflection of, what am I doing on this planet, and why am I not doing things that makes it better for everyone? Yeah.
that's, yeah.
I mean, it's the ideal world, isn't it? Everyone just don't be a cunt. Like, everyone be nice to each other. Let's not all be bad. Like, but I mean, it's just not in human nature. Like, it's in our nature to destroy ourselves.
It's unfortunately, it's not a realistic goal.
It'd be nice though.
That
wouldn't
was
it?
gonna.
It'd be nice.
It
That
would be.
was
It'd
gonna
be
be my
fantastic.
next question.
Humans just aren't
That was going to be my
programmed that
part
way.
2 question to today's topic was, do you think we could ever reach a world as a human race where we're not all fighting each other?
When
Do you think it's
We're all
possible?
super drugged up.
So I can't remember what I was watching. I watched a movie, or it might have been when I was actually, it might be something from Jono's book. It's a section in Jono's book.
Oh, God.
But no, it might, I think it was. It might have been in a movie I saw. But
Page 83.
it's the theory behind that. You know, the human race will only ever not be at war at each other when we're at war with another race. So, like, I think the only hope of that is if aliens come to Earth and are like, we gonna fuck you up, and we're like, all right, China, ISIS, Russia, North Korea, fuckers, we need to sort of, can we just have a quick powwow? Can we just hold the fucking nuclear tension and all that for 2 point? Let's fuck these guys up first, and then let's see what happens after that. I think that's the only reality where we are able to have a world where we're not fighting each other, but unfortunately that means we have to be fighting somebody else.
Even then, I don't think so. I think people would still be trying to strategically place themselves to be in a position of power after.
Yeah, I think
Whatever
I
happens.
think Kim Jong-un is still going to be a nut job and take it as an opportunity to like nuke you while you're not watching.
Yeah, it's
opposed
unlikely,
to,
but it's the most.
This nuke went off course.
I mean, you're probably right, but I think that's the most likely scenario where we could have world peace, or once we get wiped out, or when we are about to be wiped out. Like
When there's like three of us left.
You know, there is a meteor hurling towards Earth. Hey guys, you've got 24 hours. It'll either be absolute chaos and medlem, or everyone will just go and sit in the streets and just chill and be happy. It'll be one or the other, but it's more likely to be the chaotic one because humans suck.
Yeah, we do.
It did make me think, like, we can't even rally around a cause that is destroying our planet at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, Trump has just pulled America out of the whole Paris climate agreement.
Climate change is fake news.
Yeah.
It's fake news.
It's fake news created by the Chinese to destroy American business. So that's not something we're doing anymore. That's not even a war.
Do you know
that's
what's
not even conflict. And he's separating.
Tom,
himself.
why save the planet when we can just save the US?
That's a fair point. My counter to that would probably be that
You're
the
a
US
cunt.
is part of the
You're
planet.
on the planet.
You absolute cum stain of a person.
The more depressing thing now about that story is at some point in time you're going to have to be Donald Trump. So
It comes with
Oh, you already have been. You
He was like the
fuckhead.
first. He was the first one. He was the one
he
without
was the
any
first person,
any
yeah.
knowledge or like.
Yeah, and God had second thoughts.
God.
He's like, oh, do I really want to follow through with this idea?
pros and cons to being Donald Trump, I'm sure.
You get to touch women on their pussies, but
Grab them, Dylan. You get to grab them.
oh, sorry, you
not
get to
just
grab
touch them.
pussies, but sorry.
Yeah, so it's sort of unlimited resources, but an
Unlimited gold.
absolute douchebag and not doing anything good with it.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, I think if I was to ever think about the question, like it feels like I would have been more hopeful for the world like 2 years ago or whatever, but I feel like in the last 2 years,
12
the
months
world's-
ago.
yeah, or even like
Yeah.
12 months ago, sure. But I swear, if you look around I know a lot of people feel like it's overreacting when you like about Trump and stuff like that, but I can't help but just look at that guy in office and go, this is about 10 million steps backwards, and it's not only it's rallied hate around the world more or less, and it's rallied like all this sort of thing, and it's just a million steps backwards. So for the question if we could all get along, not anytime soon.
I have the exact same feeling, and this is actually going to be my topic next week around this sort of thing. But I feel like
Spoilers.
we've actually gone backwards as a society in the way that we treat each other. It's really quite depressing when you think about it.
Especially when it's you, the one doing it. I got to keep tying it back.
Yeah, when you're just doing it to yourself the whole time.
Yeah, well,
And then
somehow
somehow
I've been fucking myself up.
the person that I ended up thinking about when I said Donald Trump's got far too much money and he just does shit things with it. The antithesis of that is someone like Elon Musk, isn't it? Who
Yeah.
has unlimited money
Bill Gates.
and
Is just a sick
when
cunt.
when he talked at TEDx earlier this year, and I saw the best of in the movie. He was just like, it basically his thought when he wakes up every morning or something like that is, how do I make this planet better today? How do I make things better for people and for the human race? And that's what like Tesla and SpaceX and the Hyperloop and all these things are.
Let's go on a tangent since you've gone down this road. Let's go
What?
on a little bit of a tangent here.
I had a funny feeling we were already on one, but
Well, we are. This whole
Another
episode was meant to be tangents, but
nailed
so
it.
you say what can help?
We are so good at this.
I'll take you on a
Oh,
I'll take you on a
what if you
tangent first, Dylan. Did you know that Logic's real name is Sir Robert Bryson Hall II?
That is the
Because
most
I did.
least gangster name I've ever heard in my life.
No one said
Or
he was
the
gangster.
most.
Why
You
do
can apparently
why do
call-
rappers have to be gangster?
I mean, I
Because
feel like
Jack's a
there's,
racist. We've been over this.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's some like. I don't know. I'm gonna Google a picture of Logic real quick because I don't
Oh,
know.
for
No. While we're
fuck's
on this
sake.
one, while we're on Sir Robert
He's-
Grayson
How's
the
he-
fucking third, whatever his
He
name
was
is.
he was born
How's
in
he
America, so
knighted?
you can call a child Sir something evidently, but you can't in countries like Australia, New Zealand, England that have knighthoods and stuff.
I
Like
guess you could technically call your kids sir.
Logic.
no, but
Okay.
births, deaths,
be
and
weird.
marriages
You can't
or
use it
whatever
as a
your
child.
He
equivalent.
he looks like the
you
rapper
can't-
version of Andrew Goldfarb.
Is it the big smile?
We've gone from a podcast of like trying to let's be better to each other. And now
That's not
I'm
not
gonna
an
pick on this
insult.
guy's
That's not an
looks.
insult to say he looks like the rapper version of Andrew Goldfarb. That's a compliment.
You're saying he looks like a dorky gangster? Is that what you're saying?
No, I kinda, but it's kind of what I'm getting at. But I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at.
I
I know
can
what you're
tell.
getting at.
He looks
I
he
can
looks like a
tell.
handsome young
What,
man. What was your tangent that you were going to go on, Dylan?
Yeah, what tangent were you trying to take?
Oh
us
yeah,
on?
yeah, all right. Tangent. Since she was on that road, I was going to ask, what do you think? What do you think you have to do to be doing good to help in the world? Does it have to be that does it have to be something like Elon Musk, like building stuff to help people or something like that? Because my answer is like if you're like producing something that can help people laugh or something like that, that's still putting good out to the world. Or does
Thank
it
God,
have to
because
be?
that's all we're doing.
Yeah, or is it like unless you're waking up to help cure cancer every day, then you're just fucking useless.
It's a
Yeah.
spectrum, isn't it?
Option one.
It's an interesting. I think as long as you put what your output of positive is is better than your output of negative, then you're on the good side of history. So you can do not like if you're like a great person your whole life, you donate to charities, then one day you wake up and murder someone, you probably it undoes everything that you've ever done that's good.
Look, I donate to charities at least a couple times a year, and I plan on murdering someone at some stage. And you're telling me I can't?
I'm saying that you probably shouldn't if you want to be on the good
So
side of
what
history.
if you...
Fuck!
What if you
only
kill someone
that
in
you'd be
war?
killing.
Say again, sorry, Nick.
What if I kill someone in war?
Does that erase
War's different.
every good you've ever done?
What's that? Sorry,
Or
can you say that again,
self-defense.
Nick? Everyone's
If you kill somebody in a
kill
war?
no.
that-
I'm talking like OJ. If you're
Murder.
OJ Simpson
Murder.
and you allegedly murder someone, even though you were found
Why'd
innocent
you
by
have to bring him
a group of your peers, if you're like, then you
Rodney
probably
King. That's what it was all about.
anyway. Anyway, what I was saying before, I think if your output, like, so I do things that aren't, they're probably like I swear and I
Oh, fucking swearing doesn't count for shit.
yeah, no,
can't
well, you
it?
know what I mean. Well, I think I'm a pretty positive person generally, and I try and put out more positive than I do negative. But sometimes, like, I'm an asshole, and sometimes I'm a cunt, and sometimes that can But I think generally, if you're doing more positive things in the world, whether it's helping an old lady cross the street, or picking up some litter, or not littering, or donating to a charity, or just being a genuinely nice person and walking up to someone at work,
Drawing the cartoon that you're pretending to be. What? It's just a cartoon character version of being nice is helping the old lady to cross the street.
I'm using fucking general examples, you twat. If you're doing all those things and you're not doing negative things, you don't have to be Elon Musk, you don't have to be fucking Gandhi.
Yeah, that's basically the question. Do you have to be
No, but
Elon
your
Musk?
output
No.
of positive needs
No,
to
is
be
your answer?
more on the plus side.
When you said like your positive has to outweigh the negative, you're still doing negative stuff, which isn't great. Like the way that I first
Yeah,
thought
but your
about it when you
negative
started saying
stuff.
that.
That's the
So what I
definition
mean,
of those
is
terms.
your negative stuff has to be less. Like, okay, it's I don't know. You forget to say thank you to someone, as opposed to spitting in someone's face or running up to someone on the street and telling them you're going to smash their face in because their dog shat on you.
Jesus
Because their dog shat on
Christ.
your fucking sidewalk. Do you know what I mean?
But what you're talking about is there being a net positive of your actions. I thought that the amount, like, to be that sort of good is to put more positivity into the world than positivity that you consume somehow. So that
That's interesting.
despite you're here, but you're still contributing to an excess of positivity or to more positivity. So, like, you have smiled to more people on the street while you walk to work than what smiled to you is putting more positivity into the world than was there already.
Is a smile
and that you
positive
are
if you don't mean it?
Yeah.
If you're just
I think
doing it
that's
as a nicety?
interpretation.
Yeah. Well, that's
No,
obviously it's just an example, but as opposed to saying that I can get away with being negative because I am positive.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's
that-
something
that
that
was-
where
that
you
was kind
need
of
to
the
have
thought
like
that I had.
I'm not saying you need to have a tally. It's more just be more better than bad. Be better. Be better to each other.
Or try to.
Than you are. Like, everyone has moments of being. I'm always a cunt to people. I'm rude. We were at the airport the other day, and God bless Niall. He was just trying to give us advice of how to get out of the airport quickly, and all I wanted to do was tell him to shut the fuck up. And that was a moment of me, and so I was a little bit rude, and I was just like, okay,
Sorry,
sorry,
Niall.
and I apologize for that. And I don't know whether that came across because I was just like quiet, and I'm like, yes, okay, yes, thank you. But he was just trying to be helpful. So that was a moment of me being not positive. But I think I do more positive. So I think I don't think there's like a it's like a counterweight, and like, it's like, oh fuck, it's starting to tilt a little bit that way. I better go out and fucking donate to a few charities to
Kiss
make
some babies.
Yeah, to make the scale go the
thing
other
is,
way.
you don't know your balance.
That would go the other way.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right, Nick. Is that you don't know the balance, but if you're just generally better at being better than you are at being a cunt.
I knew a guy when I was a lot younger, like a mutual friend.
A lot younger. Jeez.
A lot younger.
What were you, 8?
Like,
Yeah.
No, when I was like 16.
In a
or
past
something
life.
Like that. That's nearly 10 years ago. That's a while ago.
It was yourself. Spoilers.
No, it wasn't myself. No, I was about to say this guy went to church all the time. I've been to church once.
Jono.
Jono.
Shout out to Jono.
No, Jono goes to church every week. That's definitely not this guy. This guy would go to... So this guy was a cunt, like a full-on dickhead. Like he did like a... He would like... He was just a druggy fucked like dickhead, right? But he would go to church every couple of weeks or like once a month, especially after he did something really stupid, like got into a fight, like drunk one night or something like that. And then him and my friend, like the friend who he's a mutual friend through, they would like go to church and they would reckon that would make up for all of it because they'd go there, they'd donate $50 into the fucking tin and they'd walk out feeling like all their sins of the past couple of weeks had been absorbed from them. And I would say to them, I'm like, you guys are fuckheads. Like,
Where?
You're literally being fuckheads. Like,
Well,
that's not how the world works.
First of all, they're absolutely wrong. I think we agree with that. But where does
Yeah.
this 16-year-old get $50 to give away every fucking 3 weeks?
Drugs.
Stole it.
Drugs.
Clearly.
Yeah. Are there
Drugs.
Yeah, I
Selling
mean, I guess
drugs.
with that kind of thing, it depends where your faith lies. It sort of goes back to the question before about, you know, if that was the religion, well, people were going to use it to their advantage to be bad. So they're just dickheads, and there's evil in every sect. So even that, I don't think that's the same as being a better person. That's trying to
That's
clear
them
their
trying to balance
trying
it.
to clear their conscience.
Yes.
Yeah. Or maybe
That's
donating to the
literally
church,
them-
they feel like that's their positive to outweigh their negative. That's someone having a counterweight in their head going, I was a bit of a cunt this week, I better go and donate some money. I'm going to go be a cunt this week again and donate some more money.
That's not how.
No, I know.
works,
Those people
man.
sound like dickheads.
So stupid.
Were their parents related?
No, yeah, they live in
Tasmania.
Tasmania, so they're basically like stepbrother
God.
sisters, half heads.
Can't spell lawn system without incest.
Nick, you look
I
like
want,
you.
yeah, I want to go because
can.
I didn't get a chance to say it earlier. I don't believe we'll have world peace as long as the world is driven by profit.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
hypothesis.
Do you want to? Do you want
Elaborate.
to? I kind of know what you're trying to say. Do you want to
Elaborate.
I just believe
Expand? elaborate?
everything,
Believe money is the root of all evil.
pretty much, is like
Yeah, fucking
98% of all conflicts is driven by money.
Is that a
Yeah,
statistic
like wars?
that's true?
You're,
or
you're
that
saying
you
like
made up?
wars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wars, even interpersonal conflicts is driven by money.
Yes.
Mostly.
Yeah, I don't
Mostly.
disagree with that.
Most of the time.
Somebody thinks somebody else is a
what do
cunt
people want?
because they have more than them and they're able to spend better, so they get jealous and build up resentment and eventually breaks out. Or
Yep, definitely.
I don't know, like
You don't rob.
an
don't rob
idealistic
people
future
for
is
fun.
something like Star Trek, where mankind works as a whole towards something instead of I want my share of the pie here, I want my share of the pie here. You don't have as much as what I do and whatnot.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So on that, I believe in similar things, in which is that I wish the world was like segment. Like I'm not very Aussie. I don't really give a fuck. Like I don't wave Aussie flag pride. I don't think that you all that sort of thing because in my mind I think it's celebrating that kind of stuff reinforces that we're all so separate around the world when I think we should be trying to be more like just saying we all live on the same planet. And I just
agree.
think when America's like fuck yeah America, and they're waving their flags, it's like we're Americans, we're over in this corner, and then Australia's like fuck yeah we're Australia, waving our flags, and then everyone else in different countries is waving their flags. Everyone in your mind, even if you don't realize it, that's like building walls. That's like there's walls to places, there's gates to places. And I think if everyone started believing that was just humans that all live on the same planet, would get along, would start working
Yeah, it's
better.
an interesting
I
thought.
agree completely.
I think it could go both ways, though. It can definitely go that way in that, yeah, you're building up walls and it's like, yeah, fuck America, fuck everyone else, yeah, fuck Australia, fuck everyone else. But it can also go the way of like when we were, like just recently we were overseas, obviously, and where I'm Australian and in a foreign land, and that's something that I used to break down walls with people in a different country and be like, yeah, I'm from Australia. And they're like, oh, that's really cool. And I don't talk about where I'm from. And hey, have you been to my country? Well, you should come to my country. It's great. Thank you for coming here. Like, I think it can go both ways. It's just how you choose to you know, if you want to be that guy who's like, America, fuck yeah, fuck the Muslims and all that fucking shit and be a dickhead like that, or you can be someone who's like, yeah, America, fuck yeah, come to my country and I'll treat you as an equal. Like, it can go both ways. Or come,
It's very easy to say that on a personal level.
Yeah.
But
Because
on,
you
a,
are so
on a
Australia
societal level
is
or a
different.
global level is much
Yeah.
different, I think.
Go, Nick.
How would you would not have gotten that reaction from a lot of people if you were, say, from Syria or Saudi Arabia or something? Because Australia is so similar to America, we're pretty much
White.
there's not many differences.
Yeah, but no, you're right. I probably wouldn't have, but I think about then it was coming back to my way, and someone came up to me and was like, "Hey, I'm from Syria or I'm from Saudi Arabia, and I'm your country." I'd be like, "That's great, man. That's cool. Like, tell me about where you're from. Tell me about how you're liking Australia." And so yeah, I think it definitely is on an individual level. It's up to every person to be, like I said before, be better to each other. As a whole, you're probably right about that. But I don't think that being proud of your country and where you're from is necessarily a bad thing. You can use it as a positive if you just accept that it's a negative thing and that it's used that way. It can go both ways, and you're probably right that it does probably go more towards that, the building of the walls and the segregation from the rest of the world. But it could be used as a positive. Sorry, in that.
To use an analogy, so you have a house, right? You keep it clean, you keep it tidy. Someone comes over. You have an apartment. You keep it clean. You keep it tidy.
Why you got to limit yourself to an apartment?
You have a hole in the ground, right? You keep it clean. You keep it tidy.
No,
you have
it's
some
an
How do you keep a
paintings
hole
hanging on the
clean?
wall.
Wouldn't it be dirty?
You have all these places that you keep clean.
It's very easy to keep your hole clean if you try hard enough.
Someone comes over.
Can I only have one person around because the hole is so small?
Don't you grow
Or can I have
yeast in there?
multiple?
I have like a separate loofah that I use for my hole, so I like mine's quite.
Why does this only happen when I start talking, for fuck's sake? So you have
talking
a
about?
place, you go over to someone else's place, you're like, cool, you've got a cool
Or
house.
somebody
man.
else's
And
hole.
you're like, you should come over to my house and you should check it out. And I think like that level of being proud about your personal place is obviously fine. My
Yeah.
point is that I think the level to which people are obsessed with like, my country's better than yours and waving flags and stuff like that, I think it does nothing but negative effects to the
I
world.
think it has to be on all levels. If you're thinking about that countries can't be we are different places and we are better or worse. Then you need everybody to live in the same sized hole or the exact same conditions, like globally, to then be like, hey, we're all on par and we're all then doing work.
We'd need a global government, not different.
I'm down.
Yeah. If we're
I'm down.
all
I don't know
treat each
exactly
other
what
as
it looks like,
citizens of
but
the
I'm
world as
so on
opposed
board.
to from different countries, I think it'd be a lot better.
I always like when I watch sci-fi movies, especially ones where they're like live in space, right? You know, like Battlestar Galactica or some shit. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, this is the president of the United States. It's like, this is the president of the world, and like here's the
With the 13
government
colonies, yeah.
people
The
officials for the
Galactic
whole
Federation
world.
or whatever.
It's like, yeah, that sort of shit. I'm like, that seems like such a better idea. And to your point, Tom, sure, like that's exactly what I think that everyone should be trying to work towards. It's like, well, instead of like, all right, so all
you're
the
a
third world
communist.
countries, let's
I'm a socialist.
What are
let's
you then?
try and do. Let's try and do more to fix the third world countries and like bring them up to it. Let's try and get everyone on even grounds here. Let's.
Yeah,
But
I
to
don't
get-
think
to get
anyone's
to get
like
everyone
saying-
on even grounds is to bring existing populations down a peg,
Yeah.
which all you're going to get there is conflict.
I'm
Like,
fine.
if you-
Yeah, but you're
Thanks
not
so
up,
much.
you're
Goes
not
back
up
to
the
money.
top.
Yeah,
You're in the middle though. You're not at the top end. So it's easy for you to say, "Hey, bring everyone down to the same level," and that's like, okay, well, what about all the people that are, like, all right, let's whatever. Some guy who's worked really hard, gone to university.
Donald
Rupert
Trump.
Murdoch.
Yeah, whoever. He's a millionaire. He's got an
is-
empire and stuff. And then they'll go, all right, we're bringing everyone down on the same level. And he's like, well, I haven't done anything wrong to do that. We've got to bring everybody back down. It's easy from our level to say, in a perfect world, yes, everyone should be equal, and that's great. But that's just not the reality of how the world works.
This is the same problem everyone had with Bernie Sanders, which is that he was like, we'll just tax the rich more to get to all that stuff. And everyone was like, well, that's just going to piss off the rich people because they deserve to earn that money. And I was always like, if I was in their shoes, I'd be like, you know what? I'll take one for the team.
It's easy for you to say that when you're not in their shoes, though. It's easy for anyone to say that when they're not in somebody else's shoes. It's easy for me to turn around to someone, say like, "Oh,
But how can you sit in your Jade Empire Tower and look down at the people living on the streets fighting to survive, and especially in America where they can't get health care because they can't fucking afford it?"
That's my point. Like, if I'm that rich and you're telling me I'm going to be like, oh, nah, get fucked, I earn this. Like, just fucking kill me. I'm obviously a cunt.
But it's-
like,
I think to get into that position, you've got a certain
Just kill
type
me.
of personality
hey?
that wants to.
I don't know if it's a personality so much as it's a cultural thing. I remember when the whole Bernie Sanders stuff happening, and the whole not wanting to tax the rich. In America, it's at least in part cultural, because everybody has this understanding that I will be there one day. So I'm not going to vote for somebody who is going to tax the rich more, because when I nail the American dream and become part of that upper class, which they're all sort of like, not everybody, but it's a cultural thing that about the American dream, we can all get there if you just work hard enough. I don't want to work that hard and get there, and actually it's not as good because we voted in somebody who's going to tax me more.
As we have, we have the same
It's a cultural, social thing.
Yeah, when I see Americans discuss raising the minimum wage to a livable level or universal health care, I weep for humanity in the mindset that they have, that they don't have any basic human empathy for the next person.
They're just looking.
I'm not saying all people, but more often than not, it depresses me.
Look, I think the main point is that, as far as I'm concerned, for the overall world to get better, someone has to lose at some stage here, and it has to be the higher ups. Like, that's just how it is. Like, sorry, not sorry, but
It's the whole the rich get richer and the poor get poorer at the moment.
Yeah, the world, we've done that for however many fucking millions of years. Guess what?
Not very
Let's
many.
fucking
millions.
try it double. No, you know what I mean. What was it the
For
other
as
week
long
I said
as
was alive
society
for
has
fucking
been,
a
it's always
century?
been like that.
What did you say the other week, Dill?
I can't remember. I said something similar. Like, I over-exaggerated or under-exaggerated or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, so I think the moral of the story is, I think everyone should be nice to each other. If you see someone down the street and don't be such an asshole to everyone. That's the moral of the story.
Goes back to our pet
And
peeves topic. Just don't be a cunt. Common courtesy. Yep.
Don't be a cunt.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on,
Part two.
Bevan.
Be
Fucking spot on,
better
David.
to everyone.
Be better to each other. Be
And if you wanna-
excellent to each other.
If you want to read the story that kicked off this weird podcast today, it's going to be it'll be in the link.
But you'll
It'll
hear
be
it
in
before the show.
description. You'll hear it before, but if you want to reread it, if you want to share it, you can Google
And you
it.
should listen to
It's called-
Everybody by
You
Logic.
should listen to Everybody by Logic. You should Google
Apparently I'm
Andy
gonna have to
Weir.
do
He has
that
a new
now.
novel
And
coming
you should
out.
tweet Logic that we mentioned him.
Tweet at Logic if he wants to be on the show. What up, what up? Cut out the part where two of the people on here bitched about you. That's fine.
I didn't bet you.
I complimented
Yeah,
him.
you nerdy looking rapper motherfucker.
He
Ash,
can't
where
is,
can the
though.
people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY,
Jack,
You
where
can
can
find me
people
at
you?
cruisy_mate on Twitter and cruisymate on YouTube. I just need to pose a question to our listeners. By our listeners, I mean Jaden Pryor and everyone else who's listening. Hopefully this is more than Jaden listening this week. But I was given some advice over the weekend that I need to get rid of the underscore in my Twitter name. And I would like the consensus of the collateral damage, which is I think what we named our explosion fans. Is that right? Are we still going with that?
It was.
Are we still
collateral
going with that?
damage.
Collateral damage?
Sure,
Okay,
I'm fine with it.
That was on a well-viewed video.
It's got 30-something views.
Do you think I should get rid of the underscore in my Twitter name?
Can you
Yes.
get rid of the underscore is the more important
You
question.
can.
Sure,
Yeah,
I
you
could.
can.
It doesn't seem.
Not if somebody else has crazy, mate.
What you need is consistency.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Well, everything
Yeah.
else has got
Add
the
all
underscore
underscores
except.
to everything.
But someone told me over the weekend that to make it easier and better, like it should be without the underscore. I'm like, yeah, but everything else.
Underscores were
Underscores
cool
are
in
bad.
2006.
Yeah, but can you get
Listen
it
to
without the
Tim.
underscore? You
Tim
should probably
says
check
it all the time.
as soon as this episode's
It
finished.
was Alfredo Diaz actually that told me to get rid of the underscore.
Right. Jono's not
Humblebrag.
here to name drop.
Name
Nick,
drop.
where can the people find you?
People can find me at socialist rallies and at Twitter on at Lord and
Did you
Prior.
say
PRIOR.
Socialists Australia?
Socialist rallies.
How do you get away with being the socialist and have the name Lord N. Prior?
Yeah, fuckwit.
That doesn't sound
Figurative.
like equality.
Is it?
Yes. It's purely ceremonial.
Tom, where can the people?
I don't
Tom,
know.
where can the people find you?
You can find me anywhere and everywhere. Tom DeBomb 89. TOMDABOM 89.
Except Snapchat.
Except Snapchat.
Except Snapchat. The _2 if you're interested.
Gotta
Get rid of the
that.
underscore, Tom.
I need to email Snapchat and ask
just
if I
two.
can have Tom DeBomb 89 back. If it stopped being sending out Rolex ads or whatever the fuck it was doing. Somebody hacked me.
You can follow me on Twitter at VivaLavdil, VIVALADIL. You can subscribe to my YouTube, which is VivaLavdil as well. You can follow the podcast
Consistency.
on Twitter at ExplosionPod. You can head to www.explosionnetwork.com. You can Google Explosion Network and subscribe to our YouTube. We've got other shows. I'm sure you'll love it. It's all great. I love you all. Have a great day. Be nice to one another.
Plat.
Bye!